Can you see the presentation?
No, Parth.
No, it is on the folder.
How about now?
No.
No?
No.
That's funny. Give me a second.
Yes. No.
Okay. Maybe some problem. Okay, that's fine. I can walk you through the presentation, but let me just try one last time.
Yes.
Okay, great. So so I was at the board. It just gave me approval on setting up the Inspire Institute of Sport. What was our vision? Our vision was to maximize and is to maximize the sporting potential of India and bring glory to the nation on a global stage. One of the questions that I always asked myself when I was studying abroad, whether it was in boarding school in England or at Brown University or at Harvard, was that a country of 1.2 billion people, how can we not be winning medals at the Olympic stage? So shortly after I graduated from college, from Brown, just before I moved back to India to work for JSW, I worked at a hedge fund in New York. And one of the friends of my boss at my hedge fund was Mahesh Bhupati. And one day Mahesh Bhupati came to lunch in New York at our New York office, and he wanted to take me out for lunch. So I was obviously in cloud nine, a 22-year-old getting to have lunch with a 12-time Grand Slam champion. And I was extremely confused as to why Mahesh Bhupati wants to have lunch with me. It's at this lunch that Mahesh Bhupati explained. I asked this very question to Mahesh. I said, Mahesh, India's 1.2 billion people. You're one of the few athletes who has done incredibly well for India at a global stage. You've come very close to winning an Olympic medal. Why is it that India can't win medals at the Olympics? Mahesh explained to me that he has been trying to get an Indian corporate for the last decade, so from 2002 all the way till 2012, to invest in a grassroots development program that will really provide Indian athletes with the right infrastructure, right know-how, and right sports science and physiotherapy, as well as coaching, to really make a difference at the world stage. So he said the reason he was having lunch with me was so that I get inspired and go back to India and try and figure out a way to build this project. So this is what our journey has been since then. So in 2012, when I moved back, we started supporting very highly talented athletes. We created the Sports Excellence Program, where we picked up Asian Game medalists, Commonwealth Games medalists, and started supporting them by providing them financial support, providing them medical support, providing them coaching support to help them excel and get them to an Olympic stage. At the same time, the CEO of JSW Sports and myself, we visited some of the world's best high performance centers across the world. We went to the Chinese High Performance Center in Beijing. We visited the South Australian Institute of Sport in Melbourne. We visited the English Institute of Sport in Manchester. We visited the Colorado facility in the US to really understand how these countries have systematically put in processes in place to win medals at the world stage. And that's when the blueprint of IIS got developed, where we really wanted to focus on these three things: world-class sports infrastructure, world-class technical training, and access to sports science. So this was the vision. This is the vision of the institute: help India win more Olympic medals. And these were the ways in which we approached this. Now just to think of it, to step back and to think that as a 22-year-old, to think that I, as an individual, could make an impact to India's chances of winning an Olympic medal. Maybe I was naive at the time. Maybe I was, dreaming very big, like I said. But I genuinely believe that this was possible, and that if I get the right support and I get the right, I get the right backing, this could be done. So I realized that, okay, JSW will support me to some extent, but I need the backing of corporate India to really make this a big success. And today there are over 30 different corporates who are supporting the initiative at IIS, and even IIT Madras is involved in a very small way. So this is what we ended up building, the high performance IIS. So this is what each building does. We have the high performance center, we have the athletics center, the combat hall, full residential block, and the cafeteria. We've focused on 5 sports: boxing, wrestling, judo, track and field, and swimming. And the results, I'll go through that in a bit. So these are some images of the center under construction. On the left, and on the right is what we have built now. So this is some images of what we have. We have a 42,000 square feet combat hall. One of the large problems for Indian athletes when they would go to the Asian Games or the Commonwealth Games or even the Olympic Games was they would get overawed by the size and scale of the infrastructure and the arena. And a very, very simple thing that Sakshi Malik told me when she won a medal, and she was our first athlete who won a medal for India in the 2016 Rio Olympics, was she said, "Sir, मैंने कभी इसके पहले एयर कंडीशन हॉल में रेसलिंग नहीं किया था." So she went into the Olympic Games and for the first time in her life fought in an air-conditioned hall. These were the small things that made me realize that if we build this facility to a world-class level, then an Indian athlete should go to the Olympic Center and tell the Olympic people that my center in India was better than the Olympic Hall. That is the vision with which we built this center. These are some images of Sunil Chetri training there. These are some of the images. These are the successes that we've had at our center. Obviously, front and center is Neeraj Chopra winning a gold medal for India at the Olympic Games. I think that was a huge success. Sakshi Malik, like I mentioned. Bajrang Punia was another one of our athletes who we've been supporting since 2012, who went on to win a bronze medal. And these are a couple of our youth icons or youth stars who are coming up. Tabavi Devi won a silver at the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires in judo. And Praveen Chitrawal won a bronze medal at the triple jump in the Youth Olympics, again from IIS. So I have a couple of short videos to show you. I don't know how well it'll work, but I'll give it a try.
तो यहाँ पे जो बच्चे ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हैं उनको वर्ल्ड लेवल की सुविधाएं मिल रही हैं और उनके पास बहुत अच्छा फ्यूचर आगे परफॉर्मेंस करने का, कितनी सुविधाएं क्योंकि आप कहीं भी देखो, इंडिया में कोई भी सेंटर जाके देखो तो इतनी सुविधाएं नहीं मिलती जितनी यहाँ पे मिल रही है। वो सुविधा इंडिया कैंप में जाने के बाद मिलती हैं, जो इनको यहाँ ट्रेनिंग के टाइम मिल रही है। हर सुविधाएं वर्ल्ड लेवल की सुविधाएं हैं, तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि भाई हाँ, हमारे देश में ऐसे सेंटर और ज्यादा बने और अच्छा हुआ, जो हमारे जूनियर रेसलर उनके लिए और अच्छा हुआ।
So yeah, so these are just some of the stats. Over 450 medals have been won by IIS athletes for India. So yeah, so the reason I bring this back to how it started in 2012 as a brand building journey. And today, if you look at the JSW brand, it gets recognized with professionalism, it gets recognized with excellence, it gets recognized with all the qualities that are prevailing in sports. And we have expanded our footprint now just beyond IIS. We have obviously have Bengaluru FC, which has done extremely well. More than winning the I League and the ISL, it's the number of players of Bengaluru FC who've gone on to represent India that really we focus on. When we started Bengaluru FC, India was ranked 171st in the world, and today we are in the top 100. And the dream of Bengaluru FC is to develop Indian football to such a great extent that we one day qualify for the Football World Cup. Then obviously we have the Delhi Capitals in the IPL and then Haryana Steelers in Kabaddi. But what I want to emphasize on sports was that the idea was to build the brand of JSW, and that's what we have done, as a result of all the efforts. And the idea that one individual can dream big and achieve his dreams is what I want to really emphasize. Is when I started and I presented to people that we want to win an Olympic gold from IIS and we want to hear Jana Gana Mana play at the world stage, there were at least 80% of the people who laughed at me and who thought I was absolutely crazy. They thought that this kid he does not know what he's smoking, he does not know what he is saying. And 10 years, just fast forward 9 years from that day, we won our first Olympic gold in track and field for India. So what I want to emphasize is that you must dream very big, because you can make your dreams a reality. And there are enough stories from your own campus of people who have done phenomenal things that should prove to be an inspiration for you. So a little bit more about what I'm doing now. I think JSW Cement, JSW Paints, JSW Steel, we're trying to become a one-stop shop solution for building materials. And we're creating also now, an omni-channel online, offline platform where, individual home builders as well as SMEs can really go out and get all their building materials needs. So I think there are a couple of things I'd like to leave you with. Is that for me, every day that I come to work, I really enjoy what I do. So I think for all of you who has, literally you guys have the world at your feet. You all are studying at one of the best institutes in the country. You all will all get job offers from, wherever you all want, whether it's consulting firms or startups or, Googles and Microsofts of the world, or JSWs of the world, Tatas of the world. But it's very important that you do what you love and you love what you do. And I really sincerely believe that. And I also truly believe that in order to make progress and in order to really know what you enjoy and what you don't, you need to be in that job for at least 3 years to get a very good sense of whether this is for you or not for you. In today's fast changing world where 140 words are a tweet and an Instagram story lasts less than 30 seconds, people are very tempted to switch jobs very, very quickly. And I know all of you all will be also very tempted to switch whatever you do very fast. But all I would say is that give whatever you do adequate amount of time to really know and really excel in it before you decide whether this is for you or this is not for you. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here and look forward to taking any and all questions that you guys may have. Thank you.
Parth, I think that's a very inspiring session. Every time we see that video, I think we get goosebumps and the pride that we all have. Actually, thank you for doing this for the country. And I will hand it over to Megha now, who is the student coordinator. She will coordinate the Q&A session. So over to you, Megha.
Sir, we've collected few questions from the audience. I'll be asking them now.
Sure, thank you.
Do you believe that any part of a leader's duties can be automated in the next 20 to 30 years?
Oh, it's a good question. I think in the world of automation, everything is possible. But having said that, I think a leader's role is to inspire, and a leader's job is to galvanize and to keep everyone together. And I think one of the largest fallouts of this pandemic has been the move to virtual. And in virtual, the things that are very difficult to do is engage your workforce, is to engage your team and to stay motivated. I think I think automation and digitization is the way to go, but a leader's fundamental role is going to become even more difficult as time progresses, because how you motivate your people, how you motivate your team in a fast changing and a highly digital world is going to be a big challenge. So I think there are tasks that can be automated, there are tasks that can be digitized, but the inherent connect with the human being can never be automated.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is, could you mention qualities an individual needs to cultivate to be successful academically and professionally?
So I think inquisitiveness is something that I would say is a hallmark of a very good professional or a leader. You should always ask questions. You should always challenge the status quo. Many times, even in my life, I've seen this with myself, that you just accept what's going on in the world. But you have to stop, you have to ask the question as to why is this happening in this manner? Why is cement sold in this manner or steel sold in this manner? Or why is it that I'm seeing this ad on Google or Facebook? Right. So I think being inquisitive is a very important trait that's everyone should imbibe. Being patient. I think being patient is very important, and I reiterate this a lot to all of you, because I remember when I was your age, I was like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. Why do I have to do only one job? Why do I have to do only one role? Why do I have to specialize in only one thing? Why can't I do more things? But it's with patience do you develop expertise in a particular area. So be patient being patient is another very important trait that I would say is very important. The other one would be to be a good listener. I think very easy to talk a lot, very easy to hear your own voice a lot, but to listen to others, to listen to your elders, to listen to people younger than you, I think that's a very important trait as well. So be inquisitive, be patient, and definitely be a good listener. Is three of the out of the box or out of the ordinary traits that I would I would emphasize on.
Thank you, sir. So in the chat box, we have a question. How do you motivate people to go the extra mile?
I think showing, so one, your vision has to be a lot more than just about your company. It has to be bigger. It's got to be something bigger than the company. It's got to be to do with, you know, a large cause. So that's one way to motivate people. Like, for example, the cause of IIS, right? I think that's a national cause. It's not a cause that benefits JSW. It's a cause that benefits India. And when I tell my team members that the profits made by the cement business or the paint business or the steel business, a part of those profits is going towards IIS, is going towards India, Indian Olympic movement, that is motivation. When we tell the people that our aim is to make the world's most sustainable steel, the world's most sustainable cement, where we will make green steel and green cement and not pollute the environment. That is a cause which is very much will galvanize and motivate the team. The other is showing empathy and sympathy. I think to be empathetic is very important, and doing small gestures, attending one of your co-workers, family functions or weddings, or being there for the birth of their child, sending them a small letter or a box of chocolates or sweets when something on their birthday, small things to know that you care, or they've had an operation, or their parents are going through a tough time and you're there for them. Then when you ask them to go that extra mile for your company, they will not even hesitate, because they know that you've gone the extra mile for them when they needed you. So I think I would say these are a few ways in which you can motivate the team. The cause has to be big. It's got to be bigger than profit. It's got to be something more meaningful than that. It's either got to be something for the country, something for the world. And be empathetic, show that you care, make the small moments count. And then when they need to work that extra 4 hours in the night for the business, they need to wake up early in the morning and do something for the company, they won't even hesitate, because they'll know that the company is looking out for them. So they will look out for the company.
So the next question is, how does your typical day look like? How do you go about planning the future of your companies?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think two parts to the question. I think one is, how does my typical day look like? Wake up in the morning, spend as much time as I can with my daughter, and go to the gym, and then get to office by, let's say, around between 10 and 10:30 in the morning. And then there is always detailed agenda, either working on cement or paint, or working on any of the other businesses. Be in office till about 7:30, and then either go to the club, try and play a game of squash or tennis, and then go home in time for dinner. So I think the way I like to prioritize my time is keep a very good balance, work-life balance, spend enough time with family and friends, keep enough time for your personal wellness as well. And then when you're at work, you stay very focused at work, and you really make the most of the 9.5 hours that you are at work. In terms of how do I plan the future of my businesses, I think the team, building the right team and creating the right team is a very, very central part of any of the businesses of the JSW group, or of any of the businesses that I've been part of. Your business can only be as powerful or as strong as your team is. And as a leader who's doing multiple things, you have to delegate your responsibility, and you have to trust the team that you have, and build the right systems and processes in place. But for us, we normally have a very detailed budgeting exercise that happens once in a year, and we always annually have an offsite where we go and we brainstorm on new technologies, new ways of doing business, and then we set out a 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year pathway for each of our businesses. So we make a 10-year plan. We break that up into 5-year plans and then 3-year plans. And then we every year assess how we are doing against those plans. So that's the way we plan. And then obviously keeping an eye out of what's going on in the world, what's going on in your competitive set, what is my competition doing. That's every month we assess that, and we discuss as a team that, hey, this is what Ultratech is doing, why aren't we doing this? Or this is what Asian Paints is doing, why aren't we doing this? Or this is what Tata Steel is doing, what are we doing about this? So that's India, and then global. This is what Valspar is doing abroad. This is what Lafarge Holcim is doing in Europe. To keep a track out on what they're doing, and then identify the areas which are most relevant to us and focus on them. So I think that's how I at least plan the businesses that I look after.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next question is, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs?
No, big advice would be that don't be scared to fail. Failure is the best teacher. It's better than any textbook, any educational institute can provide. It is only after failing that you will succeed. So don't be scared to fail. And the other big, I would say, learning for me at least is you must dream big. Don't dream small. If you want to dream small, then you might as well work in a professional organization or work in an organization, and don't be an entrepreneur then. If you want to get into entrepreneurship, dream big, and don't be scared to fail. Because I always say this to young people, and especially people from IIT Madras, it's very apt for you all. If you fail in being an entrepreneur, I will hire you. So don't worry about getting a job in the world. You'll get a job, but you have to try. You must try, and fail once, fail twice, work for 4 or 5 years, try again. It's never too late to be an entrepreneur. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, sir. So the next question. Sir, I wanted to ask that how can a student who has very less domain knowledge of any sector work towards building a business of his own?
Yeah, it's in today's world, what I always recommend is work for a couple of years in an organization of your choice, in an area which interests you. If you're interested in technology, work in a tech company. If you're interested in manufacturing, work in a manufacturing company. If you're interested in HR, work in an HR company. It depends on what area of interest you have. But once you work for a few years, you see how a business is run. You see how the systems and processes are in place and what it takes to make a successful business. Then you are ready to start your own business, because you know exactly what's happened, and you'll build a track record for yourself, right? So like if I am a mechanical engineer and I want to go into manufacturing and I work in JSW Steel for 3 years or 4 years, you'll meet like-minded people at JSW Steel. So it could happen that, hey, 5 of us JSW Steel guys, let's go and start our own business now. 2, you would have had access to a lot of people from the finance world, because the company deals with banks, the company deals with customers, the company deals with transporters, the company deals with vendors. So you'll see, you may even figure out that, oh, hey, this is a big problem that JSW faces, and there's no startup that is working on this. Now let me go and build my own startup, right? So I think a lot of successful companies have been born out of Google, have been born out of Apple, have been born out. We have so many startups that have been born out of JSW Steel. right? Or JSW Cement. So I think if you don't have an unbelievable idea straight out of college, and you don't have that aha moment that, oh, this is what I want to do and this is what I want to build, that's fine. Get a job, work for 3 years, 4 years, build that domain expertise, see how businesses are run, see what the problems businesses are facing, and then go out and build your own company.
Thank you, sir. So the next question is, how do you see JSW Paints performing among the market, comparing the competition, and what are the future plans of entering new entity of business by JSW Group?
So JSW Paints. So we've had a very good start as a new paint company. I think the innovations and the disruptions that we've brought to the market, the any color one price strategy that we've deployed, where you get all 1,808 colors at the same price, has really helped us make an entry into the country. And we are already the 6th largest paint company in India. Within a very short period of time, we launched in 2019, and within 2 years, we've already crossed 1,000 crores of turnover, and we're already the 6th largest paint company in India. So it's making very good progress, and very soon we hope to challenge the larger, more established paint companies, and really, become the aim of the company is to be in the top 3 paint companies by 2025, and I think we're well on track to doing that. In terms of new areas and new businesses that JSW is looking at entering, I already explained on the omni-channel marketplace for building materials that we are building out, called JSW One, which, if you want to think about it, you can think about it like the Home Depot for India, which is what we are which we have started building out already. Another area where we're looking at entering is in drones. We are looking at getting into defense, into the UAV field, powered by artificial intelligence. So we are working with a technology company out of the US to form a joint venture, and we're looking at entering the defense sector as well. So yeah, apart from that, I think our endeavor is a lot on sustainability. And we are looking at becoming the pioneers in making green steel, green cement, and green power in India. And I think if you look at the industries that JSW is in, we are in some of the most polluting industries in the world: steel making, cement making, power making. So the onus is really on how we can convert these dirty technologies to green technologies. So we're evaluating opportunities in how to make green hydrogen, how to make green ammonia to fuel the ambitions of the group. So our real focus is to continue in our core areas, but really become a much more sustainable company to align with India's vision of becoming a net zero company by 2070, what Prime Minister announced recently. But we want to do that a lot earlier for our industries.
That's really amazing, sir. So the next question is, how was your experience with Delhi Capitals? How did you motivate a young team to go to the finals of IPL?
Yeah, we're very sad that we didn't win the IPL last year. If only Rishabh Pant had bowled Kagiso Rabada to Dhoni instead of Tom Curran, we might have been in the finals and could have won that. But I think the experience with Delhi Capitals has been absolutely fantastic. When we took over the team, from when we bought 50% stake in the team, the erstwhile Delhi Daredevils, they were last. They were 8th out of 8 teams in the IPL. They hadn't reached the playoffs since 2012. We took over, changed the name to Delhi Capitals, and did a few things well, which really made a big impact. And 2019, obviously, we reached the playoffs. 2020, we made it to the finals and lost to Mumbai Indians. And then last year, we were top of the table, number 1 in the league, and then this happens with CSK So and then we lose in the semifinals. But I think the experience was fantastic. Again, we looked at sports science, we looked at sports nutrition, we looked at putting in the right systems and processes in place. Like, just give you a small example. When I took over Delhi Capitals as the chairman, I asked the players, like, what are some of the problems you all are facing? So they said, sir, all the other IPL teams, they allow their families to travel with them during the IPL. Delhi Daredevils charges us extra if we want to bring the family members along. I said, that's ridiculous. We should encourage families to come to the IPL, because otherwise we all know what these players will do after the match. They'll go to bars and nightclubs and they'll drink, and then next morning they come groggy for practice. So I said, actually, families should be encouraged. It should be made compulsory. Then the second thing we did was, the fast bowlers said, sir, in economy, we are made to sit in economy, and that also we get the middle seat in economy. Now, fast bowlers are the tallest of all the players. They should be in, if you're making them fly economy, they should be given emergency exit row seats so that their legs, they get enough leg room so that they're not feeling cramped. Third is, we should put the team up in the best hotels. They should be the most comfortable. They should have no problems. We shouldn't cut corners and try and save a few rupees by putting them by doing a deal with a hotel and then making them stay in those hotels. So these small things we did. And then obviously on the team selection, we felt that we had a very good young core with Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant, Prithvi Shaw, and all, these three youngsters. We needed experience. So we brought in Shikhar Dhawan, we brought in Ravichandran Ashwin, we brought in Akshar Patel, we brought in some Delhi boys like Ishant Sharma, Amit Mishra, who will fight for Delhi much more than they would fight for any other club, because you have to be from that place to fight for that place. So these are the small things, and results were there. Obviously, now with the new auction and all, let's see how things go, but we hope we can continue our run and one day bring home the trophy to Delhi.
Good. In fact, I also have a question here. Like, so since you have, met up with and worked with several professional CEOs, and you have been an entrepreneur CEO, so what are some of the differences in the approach to business or style of management or any other that you find between professional CEOs and the proprietor owner CEOs, category of people?
I think it depends. I think it depends on obviously on the professional CEO, but I think for an owner CEO, the main I guess advantage and disadvantage is you're always on. Your mind is always on, because it's not a job. It's not a 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever. It's 9 to 9 job. It's you're always ticking. You're always like, if I go home, it's not that, okay, my work is over and personal life is on. It's like, no, you're just constantly reflecting and thinking of what can be done better. Sometimes for a professional CEO, there's a hard line when they leave work, the day is over. I think the success of a CEO and of an owner, when you hire a CEO, is to make the CEO as involved in the business as you are, and make them an owner of the business, whether that's through stock options, whether that's through literally giving them ownership in the business. But that CEO should become an owner. It could be small, it could be 0.5% or 1% of the company, but he should be an owner, so that they feel the company is always, they are always on. They don't go off. So otherwise, I don't see much difference. What I will say is, a professional CEO sometimes is better suited to take forward a family business than a family person. Like I, as an individual, Parth Jindal, son of Sajan Jindal, it may not be the right man to become the CEO of JSW Steel. There could be a professional who's much better than me in running the steel business. And this is a fallacy of most family run businesses, that they think that only a family member should run the business. Why? If the business is large enough and if the business is professional enough, a professional could be better suited than the family to take the business forward. And that's what I truly admire about certain groups in India that have done that, like the Tata Group, for example. And there are many others now. And for example, in our group, it's very clear to me that the best person should get the job. It's not that there's a birthright that the family member needs to get the job.
Thank you, sir. So the next question, India is becoming incredibly digital. How does traditional businesses like cement and steel adapt in the digital economy, especially for quick commerce customers?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
India is becoming incredibly digital. How does traditional businesses like cement and steel adapt in the digital economy, especially for quick commerce customers?
Yeah, I think it's a very relevant question. And actually, if you ask me what keeps me up at night, this is the one big question that keeps us up at night, is that how do we sell digitally, right? Because today we have a network of retailers and dealers across the country who are our primary way in which we sell our material. And that's how, I guess, JSW1, the idea of JSW1 was formed, which is an omni-channel where you can go online and place your order for steel, cement, etc. There are other platforms that are doing a fantastic job in this as well, like Inframarket, etc. as well. So I think we have to remain relevant. See, cement and steel is still a low involvement category. You still depend on your contractor or your architect or your engineer to recommend which steel or which cement you should use. But as time progresses, the general public is becoming more and more aware and is making their own selections. So we should be available online as well for their needs, and that's something that the group is working on.
Okay, sir. So now this will be the last question for today's session. Having worked closely with sports teams and sports people, how has it helped you grow as a person? What are a few qualities one can learn from them?
Oh my God, this will be a long answer. No, but I think in general, their resilience, their ability to come back from hardship is second to none. For a sports person, an injury is career threatening and can actually remove their livelihood. And to see the way in which they fearlessly go out onto the field of play to represent their club or their country, and the way they get injured, the way they come back from their injury, is something unbelievable. So I think in general from sports, I've learned the principles of hard work. There is no substitute to hard work. The principle of never being overconfident. If you become overconfident in sport or in life, you will be beaten by somebody very, very shortly. The extreme highs, like winning the ISL, and the extreme lows, like losing a last ball thriller in a match. And the way you have to remain calm, never let success get to your head, never let failure get to your head, remain balanced, through life. And I think that the last thing is about building the team. There's no I in team. And if you become individualistic, if you only think about your gain, the team will never succeed. And we've seen that with so many sports teams, that when one man becomes bigger than the team falls. But if you have one man who galvanizes the team thrives. So there's a lot. I think sport is a true reflection of life. And the last thing I think which sport has taught me is that when you're on the field of play, you're equal. Doesn't matter your caste, your color, your religion, your background, you're equal. You could be the richest person in India, you could be the poorest person in India, but when you're playing that game of football or cricket or squash or whatever, you're an equal. And that is a truly phenomenal trait of sport, which one should remember in life also.
Thank you, Megha, and thank you, Parth. Ever since I first listened to your narration and stories, actually at that event in IAS, I thought it would be an awesome opportunity for us to invite you to the campus. And we actually wanted to do this session as in-person session, but due to the pandemic, this became a Zoom session, right? So certainly, all the leadership traits that you mentioned, you have certainly built something that's truly memorable for the Indian sports with your visionary leadership. And all the traits that you spoke about, be it about dreaming big or being fearless and going out and doing something, you actually embody all those traits, and we could see that, right? At such a young age, managing such a complex business, and the cool composure and the maturity that you exude is truly inspiring for all of us. Thank you so much for taking your time out and joining this session, and we are all very grateful.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. I hope it was useful, and I look forward to visiting your campus whenever it opens up.
Absolutely.
And I'm available. Please share my email address. I would love to interact with as many people, as many of the students as possible. It's my passion to talk to people getting into the workplace. So I would love to be involved, and I hope it was useful. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely, yes. And we look forward to having a continued and a long-term relationship with yourself and with JSW. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening of whatever is remaining, actually. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Megha.
Thank you.